You are live. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sean Fuller. I'm the host of Behind the Comic, and today we have CJ. Um, and is and today we're gonna be talking about getting to know CJ. We're gonna talk about his comic, what it's about. We're gonna talk about his life, his motivation, and what starts him up today. So without any further ado, I just want to take the opportunity to thank CJ to be on the show today, and let's get into started. Can you start by introducing yourself and kind of sharing a bit about your creative background for us?
Okay, first of all, I want to thank Mr. Sean Fuller and the Behind the Comics organization for giving me this opportunity to promote my work and be online. I'll admit that, excuse me if I look a little nervous, because I am, because I really am not used to being in front of the camera. I'm mostly a person who's behind the scenes, in back of the camera, taking pictures, filming. Um, My name is Carlos J. Juzang. That's CJ Juzang. I was born in Chicago, Illinois, raised in Oakland, California, and living the latter years of my life here in Los Angeles, California. I began Abyssinia Comic Group, which started in the 90s, and it grew when I decided to put myself in college for media arts and animation. That's when and after I graduated, I decided to change it to Abyssinia Media Group um, to encompass what I saw and what I was studying that the comic medium would eventually turn into and how it's evolved, which you all see and know from my competitions. But basically, it was my motivation was trying to give a fun way of educating, especially with LA, educating um, young children, familiarizing them or getting them hooked on learning about African culture. Now, keep in mind, the main three cultures that I involve in my story, though, are
I want
African.
to hold you back. I'm going to hold you back. I'm going to hold you back. There's a lot to cover there. There's a lot. So
Okay.
yeah, I know. I know. It's one of those things. Is like when you get started, you just go, and but we don't want to make sure we spoil the fun for everybody yet. So we're going to talk about the comic, but we want to make sure we get to know you and how you what forms your background, your kid as a growing up, coming up. For example, one of the things I really would like to get to know is I know you said you're from California, Oakland, California. So you kind of know my ex-wife is actually from California, so I kind of know California a little bit.
California,
Yeah,
because California is a big state.
I know, right? I know it's Los Angeles County, and
Yeah,
I don't
she's
want to say I
Southern
want to say,
California, so
uh,
she's. I was raised in Northern California.
yeah. So shoot, I completely forget. If I'm not going to say Oakland because I know it's not Oakland.
Yeah, that's where I was
I
raised in
was thinking Inglewood, but I
Southern
won't.
California.
Yeah, so I can't, but I'm gonna keep it because I don't remember right now. Um,
The
but you
most
did tell me you're from
California stuff.
California. That means you kind of know the media space and kind of know how Hollywood's set up. So you kind of so it's this background kind of makes sense to me because you're always around the arts and media. But did you always? But here's my question though: did you always want to make comics, or did this start from a different creative field?
I have to say yes, affirmative to that, because that was my dream job to eventually do, is become a comic book artist. Um,
Really?
Really. So I did go the usual routes of putting in samples, sending them to New York, getting rejected so many times. Um, Even went there to do it, but what I was seeing at the time that I was there, and I was there in New York during the '90s, '90s. It really was true enough. A lot of the comics coming out was showing that yes, it's pro black, pro minority, whatever. But the employment part, okay, if you're liked, If you like or they know you, cool. If they don't, it's a F bomb. So
Hey, isn't that true even for today though?
I wouldn't,
So
I wouldn't know today. Because I'm not in New York, and no, nor am I pursuing those avenues. Okay, you see what behind me, what I'm pursuing.
so who were some of your biggest influence growing up then as comic book creators, artists, or storytellers?
Shout out to Mashindo Kumbai.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Mashindo. Yes, when I first came to New York, that was one of the first studios I visited, and it wasn't purposely; it was haphazard. I'm walking down, I'm walking down Fulton, and I noticed a studio, and then the artist came out and said, "Hey, what's happening?" And I said, "Hey." He said, "Come up," because he was trying to show his work. So,
Okay.
so I saw
I know
it.
the hustle.
Yeah, well, that's New York. So I go up to the studio and I'm looking at what he's doing, and it was all yes, it was just the beginning of what you already know and see of his work. Okay, at that point, I said, "Oh, we could do this in New York. Oh yeah, this is what I wanted to do." And basically, what I meant by what it would do is showing Black people, showing African culture, showing, giving you from fantasy to space age to alternate whatever.
You know
Okay.
what's funny? Because my next question was going to be the motivator, but you kind of just touch on it. The fact that you just haphazardly just coming across someone presented their work, and it was in a format that just motivate you, just kind of direct you into that path that we're going a bit. So before I get even further, can you tell us about any some of your other projects that you worked on before this one?
Well, before this, I worked as first of all when I was went to New York, moved to New York. My first job was as a cameraman for a printer. So I would take work that needed to be printed, shoot it to make plates so that it can be printed and going. I was just one of the first person in the line to for the print shop. After that, I did a lot of freelancing work for a lot of hair salons, a lot of individuals, and then eventually I began to work for Trenton, New Jersey-based Africa World Press, Red Sea Press, in which eventually I became the art director. Um, that was funny and fun, considering considering I didn't really have, or I didn't really the owner and proprietor Kasahun Chikole, yes, Chikole, excuse Kasahun Chikole, excuse me for messing up his name. He saw something in me and hired me, and so was art director for about 4 or 5 years, and then I moved on from him. I met him. I had asked you before we started this. Did you know Paul Coates,
Yeah, Paul Coates.
Black Classic Press? He introduced me to him. I did a lot of work for him also, and other freelance things. But and between that, um, building at times with Mashindo in New York, um, it was like pretty much my life. And then I moved back to the California.
I was gonna ask you when you got back to California. So thanks for kind of stating that. But it's kind of like you have the tale of two cities. I should probably ask you how this would be between New York versus California. I have stereotypes,
Uh,
but you kind of lived it, so you could
uh,
probably tell me
are
better.
you are you expressing now or when I then? Okay,
That's a good question.
okay, because California. Well, right now I live in Southern California, LA to be exact.
Mhm.
And to be honest, LA reminds me of New York before I left there in what is it, 2002, something in there. All right. It really, to me, this is just the West Coast version of New York. Okay. It's got palm trees and sunshine, but yes, like New York, the city never sleeps. There's
I
always
always, yeah.
somebody there to see you, see what you're doing, what's going on. It's the same. It's just, it don't get snow.
uh,
Don't get snow. So
That's because I always kind of saw it like two hustling cultures, but kind of like the question really is, I call one very aggressive versus one is passive aggressive, but they're the same motivation
it's
factors.
just two sides of the same coin. That's all. You got
Exactly.
East Coast and West Coast. There you go. But and then I lived in the Midwest, and that's a bit different.
Okay. More
That's a bit
slower,
different.
slow pace.
For one, they're very conservative. Even the black people,
True.
very conservative. Okay, so I don't know whether it's the snow or real change in snow because New York doesn't get as harsh as winters as Chicago used to. In fact, I'm saying used to because at the time I moved there, we had harsh winters. I can tell you tales about me halfway freezing to death, getting frostbite, things like that.
Oh,
I lived there. But one thing I loved about Chicago was the diversity. I was blessed to see a lot of things, to experience a lot of things. In fact, I became an adult in Chicago, and that's why it wasn't a problem when I moved to New York. Okay, because basically when I first moved to Chicago, I'm gonna be honest. Mentally, I think I was 14. Okay, but so and
that could mean so
everybody
many
saw
things.
everybody saw it but me. So, but otherwise, and the deal is, it made me so that I know Chicago made it so that I believe after that stint, which was about 10 years or more, I knew I could live anywhere on the planet.
Oh Lord. Oh
Okay,
Lord.
anywhere on the planet, it just wasn't a problem. Weather wouldn't be the problem. Dealing with people wasn't a problem. Trying to understand them would be the
Yeah,
problem. Okay, so
we gonna test that theory one day when we put you to like Egypt to film your show. That's what's gonna be funny about it.
hey,
We can go there. We can. I know we can go to Vegas to do it, but I'm just saying.
Vegas. Vegas, I'm not a happy camp. I only been to Vegas really once in my life. Okay, and I, it's an adult playground, of course. But well, and even though folks are trying, they tried their best to make it a family thing, which I good luck on that. Especially after the pandemic. Oh, good luck on that. But I I'm just not. The only thing now is probably you can find homes that are. They used to be cheap. They're not cheap anymore. Midwest is a place where you find cheap homes. Um,
Hmm.
Now West Coast, East Coast, you gonna pull out well just about almost anywhere. You pulling out at least a $4,000 a month.
Yeah, I would say anywhere that's by the ocean or sea, facing the sea, for the exception of North Carolina and the Carolinas,
And that's
is 100% true. It's
yeah,
like you're gonna pay a pretty penny to
yeah,
live there.
yes.
Um, so this is where we transition from a little bit about you to more about your comment. So do you want me to? So the first question I'm going to ask is to tell us about the Nubian warriors, right?
Uh,
And so you want me to start the video right here?
Start the video. That'll work. That'll work.
All right, cool. You just let me. You're leading. I'm just following.
Well,
All right.
once it go, it don't do itself. It's not working. I don't see anything.
Yeah, I don't see anything either. Let's see what's going on here. Let's see if anything else would do it if I did that.
Oh well, yeah. These are just that's the first issue. So I'm that's
I
it's
know. I just try to flip it around to make sure that it's not there.
I
Uh,
could just re-add it.
all right. So let's remove this from stage. I should have. All right. No, 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 no.
Tell you what, let me just put it back on, and then I add it this way.
Yeah. I was just checking something on YouTube or something that we could play from there. It actually, could I? Nah, I haven't checked that yet. All right, cool. Let's have some. Why is it not playing fun with us today?
I have no idea.
Uh, all right, I guess we're gonna have to. All right.
Or I guess it needs to load. That might be it.
Uh,
Well, in while we wait for things to work, I started Ayele Nubian Warrior in the '90s. It was the idea was to get really, I'll say it was really geared toward boys, but to get people interested, the young interested in African culture. Now, keep in mind the three ethnic groups that I present within ALA are no real African cultures that you know. They might be bites and my exaggeration. The only thing that might come close that everyone would recognize is the nation of Kush, which is mostly Egyptian favored. But basically, I didn't want to get too close and get any specific uh, groups because I didn't want the backlash. Okay, well, you didn't paint or you didn't tell this culture correctly and all that. Where and then I'm doing a comic. Okay, now keep I'm serious about comics, but I don't believe comics should be that serious unless we're doing historical content or in somebody's life.
true,
Okay.
true.
Now, the whole idea this is entertainment, and that's what I'm providing. Um, Outside of that, uh, it's basically about a pocket universe that was created by twin gods. All right, they're basically it's based on Zulu culture, which they had twin gods. One is uh, is it Yazulu and I've forgotten the names that have my own thing, but the gods, the male is fraternal twin gods, one male and one female. The male is the god of the heavens, and the female is the goddess of the earth. They created Nubia, the land of Nubia, which is and the moon, the stars, and the sun, all just for as entertainment as they grew up, and we're
Mm-hmm.
seeing part of the result of their universe that they created and how they affected how it affects the people within it. One of the things I did try to do was, for example, using color because I wanted they created the world in black and white. All right, but they decided as they became more used to their own essence and power, then they decided, well, let's throw some of our power onto some of our creations, which was the four cultures that are within Nubia. This one is Betoden, which is more so has the power of the male god, which is god of the heavens, which is thunder. You have the Mahomans, which is the blue, and they have the one of the essence that basically they heal. They can heal. They can manage everything. They're pretty much self sufficient uh, ethnic group. But one of the things that I'm going to bring out eventually is they're very kind of territorial, or let's just say they want to take over.
Huh.
And then you
Just trying to take over the little space. Ah.
take over Nubia. They want to run Nubia. Then you have, but one of the good things is they're about their own group. They keep it
Okay.
they keep it within themselves, their own. They try to stay within their own. They don't try to venture too far out of their own people.
Their
Then
own.
you have the Tajay, which is the red or the pink, which you see on this side. That
Okay.
was a group that was gifted with a power that eventually it corrupted them. They were the leading, more advanced group of Nubia. everything they would do was more so of advanced. Yeah, there you go, and advanced, and it eventually corrupted them, and thus you're seeing one of the few groups that survived the corrupted nation that just went to pot. Okay,
Hmm.
then you have the Kush, which I don't have a one on here. I could put one on here that they're basically an Egyptian, a bite of the Egyptian culture, but they more so worship the twin gods. But they were gifted with more so their ability to foretell the future, to see beyond what is
Sites.
normal, okay, or and communicate with the dead.
Ha!
So that's the whole basis now. The whole basis of what you're seeing with hopefully I'm going doing this for 5 issues, which is a limited series. And
Okay.
at the end of the 5th issue, color should come to Nubia. Full
Okay.
color.
I
But
definitely was going to touch on that because I want to know how much issues we have and where our direction is. So what inspired? So here's the question now. Going down the rabbit hole with us. What inspired you to kind of create this comic? And what does the title represent? Because as I know, it's you talk about African history, but it's kind of like in a fictional way. So what kind of inspired you to create the comic?
uh, the fact that there's lack of any comics that spoke to culture. Now, true enough, when I first moved to New York, that's when milestones started to jump off.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, like I said, that what the heck? Welcome to New York. Anyway, that's my motivation was to just get something that was entertaining, but you knew that it was black, it was of African descent, it was entertaining as well.
Okay. All right. So I think the theme that we're trying to make sure that the audience connect with then is that it's talking about a black nation and just not any nation here. And so how long have you been working on developing this project? How's been the journey thus far?
The journey now is going very well. It was interrupted by the pandemic, and though I survived, um, and it's
How long
just
have you been working on it then? How long? I mean,
well, this particular I've been working on. I have two other franchises that I'm working on. So
hmm.
started this in the '90s, and then I let it go till I think the pandemic. Because before I was working on another thing called the Edigun over San Juan. All right, and that was as I'll probably put on here to show. Yes, here we go. This is one cover you can show. Yeah, okay. I'll do the others.
Oh, these are I'm trying to figure out the art style because I went to the trouble of learning all the different like the war, Marvel superhero style stuff like that. I'm trying to pigeon what style this is
Ah,
in my head because it's
okay.
a very distinct style.
Well,
And
I will say that I did study. I studied mostly Kirby's work, Jack Kirby,
okay,
his storytelling style. So some would say I probably bit off that. The other thing is, you forget, I told you I should. My major influence was Machindo. So I'll say I would say
and
for him, if anything else.
oh man, this is so. I like when people get to flex their creativity and
So
their art style.
the other thing, also, I have to shout out to Kinsheye Brown in Philadelphia. The particular, this
I was gonna give you the
particular,
opportunity. I was gonna give you.
if you, here we go. We can show this one. Let's see. Here we
Got
go.
a few here. Got a few here.
Yeah, the next one. Yeah, that one. That particular keel. that particular suit I got from him. He designed a suit, and I liked it. And I liked it for specifically for this particular franchise that I was doing because this was a future Afrofuturistic franchise that I was doing. That the idea behind it, World War III has happened. It's almost about to happen now. But
I was trying to stay away from it. I'm too close.
okay,
I'm too
and
close.
post and majority of the northern hemisphere got messed up.
Mhm.
The countries in the southern hemisphere is the ones that survive in basically Africa. Also, and Africa decided to close their borders, kick out folks that weren't born there, and become a continental state. And what you're seeing, they also, the military decided to really take over. So I don't know how much of a good that's supposed to be, but the old over idea is that they have military and science that's running things. Um, they decided to do most of their science projects above the Earth in the space station, the Guyanami space station, which and if you go to my website, you'll read all about this one. But basically,
I'll give you the
these are
opportunity to shout on everything. Don't worry about it. It's
yeah,
coming.
yeah.
So the last thing I was gonna say, a few things before we transition again, is for Nubian Warriors, is how many issues were you actually planning to? Because you said it was a mini series, so how many episodes you planning for it?
Uh, yeah, I'd say it's six. So I'm on the fourth. I'm finishing up the fourth now, and we'll have two more, and then eventually the sixth one is ones that brings color to the land of Nubia, and then from then on, we'll see what happens. Whether or not I should be tired of doing it by then, and we'll see whether or not we're going to deal with the color. It with coloring myself, or what I would prefer doing is find someone to color for me.
So what are some? All right, so this is one of my favorite questions to ask, right? Because um, a lot of artists face. The question literally is, what is some of your biggest challenge you face while bringing this comic to life, right? Everyone experienced it differently. You said you did this for a really long time, so you should have some war stories to share with me. So, what was your biggest challenge? What was the biggest challenge you faced while bringing this comic to life?
The biggest challenge, life, life. Okay,
Life be lifing.
because basically I'm not the kind of artist that will sacrifice everything for my art. I'm looking at cost of living, what I got to stay, what I'm going to eat. Okay, so those come first for me, and if this means it waits, it waits. All right, which why you see it's taking so long, because I decide, and you forget, as I just told you, how many cities I told you I lived in.
Three, three. I counted.
Okay, that's kind of hard to be
Actually,
keeping.
four. My bad. Four.
Thank you. Okay, so that's kind of hard to basically do a comic and keep it going and have a life. All right, which I believe my life, and I pray a lot, so that's keeps me
Same.
sane and going. So in my prayers and in the answering of my prayers,
Hmm.
my God mind told me to wait and do what I
Yes.
can,
Yes.
and it'll come to me, which it did. Especially since I felt, especially when I went to New York, was trying to become a comic artist and saw that what was going on.
Hmm.
I decided that maybe I should do some self investment. So when I came to moved to LA, I was going to school to become and get a degree for animation and media art. Animation, media art is what is present at the time. We're doing it now. Okay,
Yeah,
from
it's fast
just doing
forwarding the
a
life.
podcast
Life.
to making sure you're posting on social media, to finding ways to market on social media, to um, animate and film. Okay, because I work with cameras. Okay, all that was media art as well as sound. Excuse me, because that's one of the skills that I'm not too thrilled with. Sound is doing that. I'm pleased with just making sure you can hear me. Where a person that's into sound is that's just one part. Okay, they want to make sure that everything balanced. Want to make sure
Mhm.
that you can hear me over the music or vice versa, whatever's going on. Okay, it's a whole lot,
Yeah,
and
and they kind of study in just if you just even look at Netflix and the way they study sound, it's like literally they would tune stuff for surround sound versus direct from speakers, and kind of depend because people have different sound system setups.
yep,
So I could see how someone that's very attuned to how stuff sounds would like probably hate how we set up our stuff because it'd be like, nah, it's not clear enough. And I'm like,
yeah, that's one. And then the
we'll
other
get
thing,
there. We'll get
and then the other thing was the inception of 3D. Okay,
Mm.
because when I started to go to school in 2002 for and I graduated in 2008 for
What's your college background in then? What is it? What was your degree in?
uh, I have a degree in, as I said, animation and media art.
Got it. Okay.
And so basically, I'm dealing with animating in 2D, animating in 3D. What you have to deal with 2 and 3D. And I'm kind of happy that I did that because I've noticed that first of all, a lot of artists are kind of lost when it comes to 3D, comes to converting their work to that, what it takes. It's easy. I find it easy, especially in these day and age, for someone to scam you, an artist, because they don't understand the process that it takes. So, which that's it's another story because I could tell it's where folks online are trying to get me to do things, and then I ask them A, B, C, D, and E, and I don't get no response because obviously they don't know what I know.
Hmm.
so, so
Hey, I'm a programmer, right? So I will sit here and be like, if I'm trying to hire programming talent, it's always the same thing. I'm like, all right, I know there's multiple ways to get into this field. I want to know which one you pick because that makes this conversation a little bit more either educational or going to be frustrating. One of those two is going to be the case. Okay. Either one of y'all going to try to take my money and try to tell me how to develop something and it just doesn't get done.
yeah, well, it's okay. To be honest, this field is a very expensive field.
Yes.
Okay, it got expensive, especially after the introduction of 2D and 3D. And in my mind, it's a political thing. A lot of things, what I saw, especially moving to LA, is very political. I thought it was worse in New York, but no, I see it's everything will fool you about the sunshine and the palm trees, but no, it's just as hard, just as cutthroat as New York City. It's just that, like I said, it don't have winters. You can, here you go
They
to the
get all day to do it. They don't
go
have
to
to say
the
they can
winter.
do it every time outside. They don't have to go inside and do it.
Yes, yeah, okay.
All right, so we're going to transition again, but before let's talk about our sponsors real quick, and then we'll get back to it. All right, cool. So today, guys, our sponsor is not only myself, but a part of one of my product, which is mycomic.ai. It's a platform that helps comic book artists find monetization strategies for their comic, powered by AI. And what we're all about is making sure that you turn yourself from hobbyist to established organization. Um, we're about to start a beta, so if you want to check us out, let us know. Thank you very much for your time, and we're getting right back to the program. All right. So let's switch back to shout out. So this is my shout out section. I love this section because it gives you opportunity to remember those people that helped you along. You did talk about a lot of people that helped you with specific parts in your comic. So this is the time I get to ask who would you like to thank for their help on the creative journey?
Oh, huh, we have a number of people
Hmm.
from a partner who watched out for me and helped me with all the equipment as well as a lot of finances. um, yeah,
Hey,
Rick,
it's important. It's important.
Rick Harris. Um, we got Aaron Beatty, Rochelle Beatty. We have I said Akinsheye Brown and his family. Um, God, we got
Actually, that's a really question. Is there like any kind of collaborators, mentors, or fellow creatives you want to spotlight? Then, can you probably be like this? Not saying that you do have a lot. I'm just saying which like who kind of you want to spotlight for a second. Just kind of just say that they did some good work for you.
Well, I could spotlight my the anchor that I have. His name is Aaron Beatty,
Hmm.
um,
We shared
and,
a picture of you, man. Sorry.
and here's a bit of the work that he's doing for me. He did most of the inking for that. Uh,
Come on. There we
yeah,
go.
Conquering Lion. A few other images.
So this is another creative that's been working with you, and you kind of like how they work with you.
Yes, yes, pretty much.
All right, all right. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Um, Always a good opportunity to shout out people that have been supportive and sponsor and help you out. Um, so this is where we go to the session where we wrap up and kind of talk about next steps. So what's next for you after Nubian Warrior? Any future projects aside to you right now?
Well, you just put up one of them.
Mm-hmm. I'm
The
gonna
other
ask, how many projects do you have in the like the pipeline?
four exactly. One is already done,
Mhm.
and I'll show you that. And you could probably go to the website to
Yeah, I'm trying. Hey, I would have told you if I was paying attention to just put your, like the places where they can find your stuff on right underneath the white spot where I have here. I would have told you to do that right there, um, which is fine. But you do have. You
yeah,
do have.
Antiquity. That's a color. That's a digital coloring book. You can go to the site and
Do you
download.
have the links that we can share with the location? Just shout those locations where they can find it, find you, and so that and I'll make sure to put it also in the description of the comics so that people will be able to find it.
Whoa, you know something? That was the only thing I forgot to do. I got all the materials and I forgot to get the links.
Hey, hey, don't worry. That's why I gonna make sure it's in the comment. In the in,
Let me see. One
just
second.
follow the comment name, and then we just say look in the comment. Okay, guys, I just tell them look in the description section. You'll see all the links to his work here. Support him when you have the opportunity to. And he's very supportive. Okay, take care of our comic creators, man. That's all I'm saying.
Yep.
Look, you got a lot of you. I told you, man, you got a lot of stuff going on, man, and it's and
You think so? Okay, I thought I was just surviving.
hey, hey, you have to start
Surviving.
somewhere.
Okay.
Some people can't even say they sold a comic. Um, some people are not even
Well,
selling. Some people are just breaking into it. So it's always
one
a
of the things I did will suggest, a try to complete your what you can do. Okay, just complete it and get it done. And where's this section
I
you
was
supposed?
gonna ask you that part too. Um,
That's one. This is one is a place where you can. I just put that up. The website that you can get majority of my items at. The other thing is when you're going as far as getting your stuff printed. I know there's a lot online that has a lot of places to print that quote unquote print comics. I guess because I was art director of a book publishing company, that taught me to just keep it local meaning whatever city you're in, you find the printer that can handle what you want to do, and that in itself is an effort. Okay, because
I was gonna say that
you have
because
you have first of all you got to know what you're doing. You got to know what formats to put things in. You got to know what formats, what the the way
and
that
do
has to be. You have to the steps that you have to take to do it when you submit stuff. Okay, you have to understand printing. I would say it's first, and that's only if you're printing. I'm personally trying to get everything converted to digital, because the Conquer Line one, that's going to be all digital. You get it online, and as you see, the coloring book is digital. I'm trying to go with digital now. LA, I'm going to do the printed it out. I don't think I'm going to do a graphic novel unless it shows that it has is getting an audience, and it really I need somebody, I need people to really show that, yeah, they like this. So far it's been just accolades.
I know what you mean by that. Okay, people thank you, but they ain't buying it, right?
Yeah, they'll buy it at the time, but they're at the time they're there. But I have links that, first of all, you can have the stuff delivered to your house.
hmm
You don't have to have me running to get it, because I got other jobs that I do to make sure that our income stays stable.
what they call it? What they call it? Impulse buys. The people in the impulse they'll buy, but then when they think about it, it's like, I'm good.
Well, and then the other thing, keep in mind, I still say we're still in pandemic, because I've yet to see any cure for what caused the world to shut down. You get vaccinated every year. You're not nothing. It's not
Ain't
like
changed.
smallpox or everything with smallpox or whatever. You get one vaccination and you ain't got to worry for ever, if not 20 years later. Okay, it ain't not with COVID. So
Yeah, got my mom with that stuff.
and see, that's affected me too, because number one, even though I was a trooper and was out here trying to push these comics after during and after the pandemic.
Mhm.
Um, taking a risk for my own health. But keep in mind, after the pandemic, then things as far as price wise went up. Okay,
Everything went up.
and yes, everything. So eventually, like with this, I'm in the middle of finishing four, and three is digital.
Ooh, we lost him there. I don't know what happened. Hopefully, he gets back on. Um, but he was definitely talking about um his comics advice. I did like the advice for finding local. I actually was going to dig down a little bit on where how you find local, because I know that pro, not all local are local. So we're gonna find that out. And outside of that, I was gonna say thank you guys for the opportunity. Thank you for the opportunity to kind of discuss with you today. Background flows. I hope everyone had a great day, a great time. We were at the end anyway, so I do appreciate the time you took to kind of chat with me and talk. And so, with that said, peace. Have a good night, and to all my comic book artists outside, as I said, my comic.ai is for everyone that has the same struggles. It's one thing to create a comic, but it's another thing to monetize it. And my comic AI, that's all it specializes in. Figuring out to help comic book creators monetize their comics so that they can actually do it more than just a hobby, but as a business. Um, if you are interested in learning more, my comic AI is currently doing a beta test. So if you're interested in beta, just join it. And with that said, enjoy the rest of your afternoon, guys, and please stay safe.